And she's back. Well, here we are, Weather and Ag in Focus, and your Ag Director, Bridgette Readel, back in the seat. Thank you to Justin from the Lakes for taking things over yesterday, making sure to handle them well, and had a great discussion with Dr. Russ Daly. He is a vet and part of the veterinarian science programs down at South Dakota State University. So we greatly appreciate all the discussion that they had in reference to ticks and screwworm and every other bug. Now, oddly enough, I always feel like we're at the point of the season where we're a little past ticks. They are there. I do understand that. But I feel like we're a little bit past them. Nonetheless, killed one today in the house. He was in the shower, actually. And I don't know if I busted in on his appointment or what the deal was, but it ended badly for the tick. Let's just say that. I don't need any insects like that hanging around inside the house. Now, maybe it's because the weather's a little cooler and ticks seem to like that cooler summertime weather. So today would be his day, that's for sure. Temperatures outside right now, probably right around that 67-degree mark. Here in northern Cass County, we just had a little shower pass through, heard that on the roof. And there's a 60% chance of rain just throughout the afternoon, very scattered, small pop-up showers. Tomorrow, not looking like it's going to warm up hardly at all. We're looking at right again at about 69 degrees for a high. Friday, another chance of showers and a crawl over 70 degrees. We're going to be about 73 and roll into a nice weekend of the upper 70s all the way Saturday, Sunday, and into Monday. So far, folks that wanted a little bit of rain, hopefully you get that. And when I say a little bit, it's difficult to say, wow, I just need a half inch of rain, because sometimes the clouds don't hear you correctly. And then you wind up with, 2 inches. So we're shooting for the best here on getting the right amount of rainfall in the places that need it. And in the areas that don't, they would just like to avoid any further problems. That's for sure. So busy day here at Weather and Ag in Focus for us. We'll have lots to talk about, especially because we have a number of guests lined up. First and foremost, there is an event down in South Dakota coming up in Huron very soon. And we want to talk about that. The Red Power IH event. IH is the International Harvester for International Harvester Tractors and Equipment. They have a Red Power event in Huron. This generally moves around the country throughout the year. And the fact that it's going to be so close, for all of you who believe that unless it's red, it should stay in the shed, here is your chance to get on down there and check it out. And we'll want to look at that forecast, because I want to find out if it's going to be a good time to go to Huron, South Dakota, and see so much of the red power, as they said, showing up in that state. Then we'll be followed up by some interns from My Ag Data. Let's see what's going on for their summer, what they're learning, sharing with farmers in the region as well. Now, got a few of those things out of the way. Don't forget, you'll also want to go check out our website for WDAY News, RadioNewsDown.com. There's a Big Deals auction, and it's for Coles Resort over on Big Turtle Lake. That's north of Bemidji. It's a $1,500 value. If you're interested in going, you can check out the indoor swimming pool. You can also be fishing right off the lake outside of your cabin. There are 30 different lakes for fishing within 30 minutes, and there's places to eat. They're dog friendly. Check them out, and that bidding will go on tomorrow from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. That's the Big Deals auction for Coles Resort on Big Turtle Lake north of Bemidji. Maybe you want to give a call. Let me know what your weather reports might be, especially if you've been keeping your WDAY rain gauge outside and you're checking on how much rainfall you get recently. And you can send me those totals either by a phone call of 701-293-9000. That's the JLA insurance phone line. You can also send me emails, ag@flagfamily.com. Happy to catch on to those. And you can be watching on our live stream today. That was brought to us by Lighthouse Commodities, and you'll catch us on YouTube, Facebook, as well as Acres TV. It's Wednesday. We'll have Wednesday weather trivia at some point in the show today, so pay attention for that. We'll be giving away one of the Darter plastic bait ups, personal bait stations, especially because it is fishing season. Who wants to reach into that little styrofoam bucket and have to grab yourself a minnow when you can do it so much more easily with a Darter plastic bait up? Speaking of easily, let's talk about how some of our farm equipment is even more high tech than just what's at the tractor. A lot of us grew up when it came to hay season, and we were working with balers, square bales, graduated to rounds. I have a lot of stories that folks like to share with me about when they had to throw small square bales, had a hook in one hand and a glove in the other. And those wet alfalfa bales always weighed way more than the lighter straw bales later on in the fall. But baling has gotten to be a science more than anything than you can imagine. And so there's some things going on in that big round baler that you weren't even expecting. There is gate and speed automation. So that really helps maintain a consistent bale shape. Think of it this way. That inside that machine, it moves just slightly enough so that it keeps the face of that bale flat and then will wrap it up for you before it automatically opens the gate and kicks it out. Why does it matter if the face, if so to speak, of that bale is flat? Well, when you are rolling up a air hose, like if you've got it on a reel and you got to crank it and you're not careful and it all just cranks in that center spot, then you have that bulge on that air hose reel where too much of the hose got caught up. But if you make sure to smooth it out and make it level, it's a much flatter surface. Hay bales need to shed rainfall and snow when they're in storage. And if you do it that way, with that nice flat surface, it sheds that moisture very neatly. It's also easier to put the twine or a net wrap on them. Now, if you were to turn a bale on its end, so you kind of flipped it up on its flat end, it's almost like a sponge because it's not protected. And those bales, when they have to sit in the rain, they tend to absorb a lot more moisture. They're much heavier, better chance for them to rot and get hot. And so with bales, that moisture really matters. In fact, when you're baling hay, there are now sensors that detect the moisture levels on the hay as you're baling. That's way easier than having to gosh and guess. When you have bales that are too dry, you lose the quality alfalfa leaves from them. When you have bales that are too wet and hot, they will heat up, they can spontaneously combust, and you can have hay fires later on in the season. Also not ideal. But with all of the advances, the baler, you use its sensors just like any other implement does these days to make sure it stays on track, picks up the windrow, and then creates the perfect bale. Now, a lot of this is looked at in round bales. They're probably our most frequently handled, but I think even square bale uh, technology has improved. Now, anybody who ever ran a square baler knows that that knotter, that little piece of equipment inside that baler, not easy to always have synchronized. In fact, we always laughed that there's a neighbor down the road who knew how to wave a magic 9/16 over the square baler in order to make the knotter work the best. Those are the guys you got to have around. Now, let's talk a little bit about weed control. The Wisconsin Cropping Systems Weed Science Program has been doing extensive research on soybean planting green. What they're doing is a multi-state project where they're talking about planting soybeans and then into cereal rye and then terminating the rye. They're looking at terminating the rye when it's about 30 to 36 inches in height. That gives you about 4,500 pounds of biomass per acre. And they're doing it when the soybeans are at the VE stage, or whichever occurs, right? The height of the rye or that particular stage on the soybeans. And it's a very promising approach for suppressing weeds without negatively impacting the soybean yield. They've also consistently observed that soil-applied residual herbicides are still necessary, even when using the ryegrass component, because it gives you your best methods to be effective for weed control of weeds like water hemp. So that use of multiple affected soil residual herbicides at higher rates in tandem with your high cereal rye cover crop biomass is well recommended to achieve a more consistent early on weed control and to reduce selection pressure for further herbicide resistance. Because we all know right now we're trying to keep herbicide resistance at a minimum. It's one of those things we just don't need any more of going on in what's happening around us. Word has it that while intense El Nino conditions could hurt harvest across many places on the globe, the climate phenomena actually could help out the country of Argentina, especially in the second half of this year. Argentina, that phenomenon of El Nino increases the frequency and intensity of their rainfall, and it generally favors their crop development. The last intense El Nino occurred in 2015 to 2016 when Argentina recorded their second largest soybean harvest in history. at 59.1 million metric tons, and the average corn yield was 7% higher than the previous 10 years. Be an interesting question that we can probably ask Greg Hansen when he joins us on Friday for Market Uncovered with Hansen Agri Commodities. How do we think that El Nino impact might actually affect what's going on in Argentina? They're one of our biggest competitors for export when it comes to corn and soybeans globally. So much more to come. Again, we've got a couple of different guests joining us for a variety of topics. Up next, we're going to talk about the Red Power IH that's coming up, that I don't want to call it trade show, farm show maybe, exhibit, the vintage show perhaps. It's going to be in here on South Dakota, and we're going to talk with Noah next about that. It's that time of the year where you don't want your cows out, and you certainly don't want any leaks in your protection for your cybersecurity. So head on over to Tech Support Farm, take a look at the fence check assessment, make sure that things are on track because your farm and agribusiness is valuable. You don't want any holes in the fence for the cows to get out. You don't want any holes in the fence of your line of security when it comes to your cybersecurity for farm and ranch. Again, that's techsupport.farm. I am very excited to learn more about the 37th National Red Power Roundup to be held in Huron, South Dakota. And joining me is Noah Beck. Noah, I believe you're one of the organizers for this whole event, correct?
Yeah, I'm helping. I run the social media pages, South Dakota Chapter 21 of the International Harvester Collectors Club. I run the Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok pages there. And we're hosting the 37th annual National Red Power Roundup in Huron, South Dakota next week, June 25th through the 27th.
I'm going to have to look in a long term forecast and make sure the weather's great because I think this would be so much fun for people to come down and join you. And will this be at the fairgrounds in Huron, at the South Dakota State Fairgrounds?
Yes, it will. There will be exhibits all over the grounds and in a lot of the buildings on the grounds there. We're really excited to get to use the new Dakota Events Complex. The last time that Huron hosted the show, we were in a different building and the decks got built after that. And so this will be its first time getting filled with red tractors and a lot of trucks in there.
So I actually started to see some posts on Twitter earlier today from folks saying, "Yep, I'm bringing my IH 1206 or whatever tractor." I spent a lot of time in a 1066 as a kid. How many tractors are you expecting? Are they all only IH? And I heard you say trucks. Those can come too?
Yes. Yeah, the show is really for anything that IH built. So that includes tractors, trucks, Cub Cadet, lawn and garden equipment, memorabilia, household equipment, appliances. Um, yeah, it's just anything that you can think of. We're probably going to expect around 500 to 600 tractors, um, probably 150 Cub Cadets, lots of memorabilia. We're doing a big dairy display for National Dairy Month with IH dairy equipment. And our a couple big things that we're doing this year in honor of the country's 250th birthday are that we're having a goal of getting 250 IH vehicles. That includes trucks, the International Scout, which was a SUV, uh, Travelalls, which were like a suburban
Oh,
type SUV.
yes. Yep, they were. Those were
So we're
super cool. And people who are dedicated to that line, like if you love an IH Scout, you have them all, right? You have five, and four of them are parts replacement vehicles. It is fabulous. And have you always been an IH guy at heart, Noah?
Yeah, I have. I kind of grew up in the hobby. My dad and grandpa and my great uncle and cousins were all into the tractors and the old trucks. We've got my great grandpa's 1945 International K7 semi truck that he bought brand new in 1945, and it'll be running and driving at the show. So come down and see that. Um, we're having a display dedicated to heritage equipment, which is equipment that you know the story of. You know it was on Grandpa's farm. You know that your cousin's uncle bought it and now you have it or something. So we're
Hmm.
having a display devoted to that and telling the stories of the equipment as well as just showing it off.
People forget what an extensive lineup IH had. I mean, at one time, IH was the largest tractor manufacturer in the world. They beat John Deere, who was really just into implements. And then they expanded. And I heard you also say things like household appliances. They built refrigerators and freezers. I can't wait to see if somebody drags that freezer out of the basement and brings it there, Noah. But for just your collection, how many items are you bringing? I heard you say a couple, but how many?
Oh boy. Um, we've got probably around 28 Cub Cadets that we'll be planning to
Hmm.
have on display. I think six regular size tractors, all with implements. Um, I think 5 or 6 trucks. We've got the my great grandpa's truck that I was telling about. We've got a
Hmm.
1976 International Scout that'll be 50 years old. Um, and then we're actually bringing, like you talked about, we're dragging the freezer out of the basement. We got four. We've got 4 IH fridges, a freezer, an air conditioner that was built by IH, um, and then a lot
I
of
do also realize
memorabilia, toys. Yeah,
you need 20 guys to stop by to get that freezer out of the basement because I realize how much those things weigh and how big they are. So I'll
yep.
send a sign up sheet around for you. So Noah, Huron is famously known as the cities that host the state fairs for South Dakota, but you don't have a lot of hotels. So are campgrounds open? Are you giving folks recommendations where to stay?
Yes, there are. The state fair has plenty of campsites available. Just show up and then pay as you get there. Um, we'll get you set up in a camp spot. If you can't find a hotel in town, there's plenty of Airbnb spots available. Um, and just reach out to us either through Facebook or through the Chamber of Commerce or the State Fair office itself, and we'll get you set up. We'll make sure you have a place to stay.
You mentioned there's a parade, there's a quilt show, a kids tractor maze, which I can't wait to figure out how they get through that, and an auction. When is the auction? Is that like a Friday night? Because this is again being held in Huron, uh, June 25th, 26th, and 27th.
I believe the auction is on Saturday. Yeah, it says
Okay.
Saturday at 3 p.m. that we'll have the auction. We'll be selling off collectible IH equipment, um, some memorabilia, uh, all sorts of goodies.
And then there's a truck and tractor pull as well on Friday, June 26th.
Yes, the state fair is sponsoring the Great Plains truck and tractor pull. That will be on Friday night, and that will be plenty of horsepower there. Keep you entertained that way.
This is really cool, and I'm sad to say I'm late to the party. I wish I would have known about this a little bit sooner, so we could have talked about it more frequently for listeners. Because IH as a brand had a real foothold in the Upper Midwest. There were a number of dealerships, and it was a favorite brand for so many. And like you said, a lot of us still have Grandpa's tractor, Dad's tractor, and this is a wonderful way to go out and show them off. And Noah, where can people go to find more information, like websites, social media sites, anything like that?
Yeah, our website is redpowerroundup2026.com. And on social media, you can search up on Facebook, Red Power Roundup 2026, uh, SD Chapter 21 IHCC, or check out the South Dakota IH Scout and Truck Club Facebook group. Um, on Instagram, we're at SD Chapter 21. We're on TikTok at SD Chapter 21, and just all forms of social media, I guess.
That sounds fantastic. And through our commercial break, for those who are watching us on our Lighthouse Commodities live stream, we're going to scroll that website. You can see it now. You'll see where it's at, what some of the events that are going on, buttons to push to get more information. And Noah, I would ask if you have a social media post or PDF, please email that to me so I can put it on our show's Facebook page so people can go there and find information. I hope everybody goes to Huron next week. It sounds wonderful.
Yes, it's going to be a great time.
All right. Thank you, Noah, for joining us to talk about the Red Power Roundup. Next up, we've got some interns from My Ag Data. Let's hear how their summer is and how that impacts your farm. Well, it is a slightly chill lower or upper 70s, I should say, about 67, 68 degrees outside. It's not awesome. A little bit of rain shower here and there. I was going to tell you it's your schools out the at the pool forecast, but unfortunately, I wouldn't go to the pool in this weather. It's sprinkling out there. Good Lord. But nonetheless, we are looking to hit a high of about 69 degrees today. Same for tomorrow. And then we will get more showers again coming in on Friday. But that opens up our weekend to be in the upper 70s with a bunch more sun. So look forward to it and take advantage of it while you can. Speaking of things that you should take advantage of, y'all know that I greatly support having interns and youth as part of our shows here at Weather and Ag in Focus. I think that the opportunity to talk about their part of agriculture as well as their perspective is tremendous. And it's wonderful for them to get a new experience. Also, you as listeners consistently get to learn something new from them. And so I have two interns joining me today. A company that I know well is My Ag Data. We're going to visit with two of their interns today, and they're going to help explain what that even is. So let's get started. I'm going to visit first with Amber Jacobson. She happens to be in the studio today. So, Amber, tell us more about you.
Hi, Bridget. It's good to see you again. My name is Amber. I am from Hastings, Minnesota, so around 20, 30 minutes south of the cities. I will be going into my senior year in the fall at NDSU, and I am studying marketing and agribusiness.
So, when you're doing that study, and you're already doing a couple of internships, what does that mean in the future? Any idea what you want to be when you grow up?
I don't have a specific role yet, but agriculture has always been a significant part of my life. So I always knew that field and community is where I wanted to build my career.
That is awesome. So we're going to visit more about what you are doing to start building towards that career, but I want to introduce Carson Drum. And Carson, fill us in on who you are and where you're from.
Hey, Bridget. Yeah, I'm Carson. I'm from Prior Lake, Minnesota. I'm 20 years old. Going to be a senior this next year at NDSU. I'm majoring in business administration and looking at doing a minor in accounting. And it's going to be my second summer now at my data.
So, because it's your second summer, fill me in a little bit. Tell me what my ag data means from your perspective before we even talk about it from a grower's.
That's a good question. Okay. What it means to me, uh, it's for me, it's just a great group of people I get to work with who care a lot about it. And from my perspective, I really enjoy working there because I get to help out all sorts of growers, and they're the backbone of the food industry here and in the U.S. And I I really appreciate helping them out in any way I can, supporting them.
Let's talk about a little bit what My Ag Data does. This is a company, and you guys can correct me where I get any of our details wrong. They are the only authorized third party company that can help a farmer to certify their acres with the FSA agency. That's the Farm Service Agency. And so rather than having to drive to the FSA office, particularly if you're a farmer that farms in an area where you might cross over into two or three different counties and you have to go to two or three different towns for two or three different appointments in order to get your certification done, it can now be done in an online fashion by using the services of My Ag Data. And so that frees up your time as a farmer. You can self report right off the equipment on your farm using the portal through My Ag Data. Or you can have someone from My Ag Data help you to do those uploads. And those certified acres mean that those are actual planted acres of what you did in the field so that it's reportable for not only FSA for programs, but also to crop insurance if you'd like. So, based on that description, Amber, did I miss anything?
You're spot on, Bridget. So yeah, we work, we are supporting farmers, insurance agents, service providers to create those accurate FSA and RMA reports.
So, what are you doing specifically in this internship to help out students at this point, Amber? Are you that person who's helping them with their information? Walk me through that.
Yes. So right now for the intern's role, we're customer support. So we're answering phone calls, emails, support tickets, helping those growers get into our business and kind of show them, what we're all about and what we are doing here to support them. So they can go on to our website under the Contact Us page, and there will be our phone number and email, and we will get back to them within 24 hours.
All right. So, Carson, I'm a farmer. I call in. I want to know more information about my ag data, and I want you to help me. What are the first things that you're going to talk to me about?
Well, first, I'd explain to them what it is. I kind of done that already, but we are a third-party provider certified by the FSA to electronically report for farmers. Um, our main value points is we reduce your audit risk. So farmers, they're going to be reporting the same form both to their crop insurance agents and to the FSA. And additionally, on top of that, you're saving time because you're using your precision OEM like John Deere, Climate Fuel View, whatever it may be, to report your data. And you don't have to drive all the way to your FSA office. Additionally, you're saving money on your crop insurance premiums. We see a lot of it depends on your state and your county, but anywhere from 3 to 10 to 12% is less than what you usually report on your CLUs as compared to your planting data. So you're going to be saving
Mm-hmm.
money on your insurance premiums there. And lastly, you're increasing your APH with better yields year after year. And that's the main point
Uh,
there.
when you think about those phone calls to farmers, when you guys are working with them, are you asking them, okay, I need you to tell me exactly what you're doing on this field? Are they giving you the actual information for you to report in for them? Are you helping them understand how to download out of their planter monitors, etc., so that information can be uploaded by the FSA? Is that a part of what you're doing throughout the summer months, or is someone else within My Ag Data taking those steps with a farmer who's interested?
I'd say that it's kind of a mix of both. We kind of do everything here. They're using their data and they're putting it inside of our software. We have two services that we offer. One is a software as a service. We kind of like to compare it to TurboTax um, for the crop acreage reporting um, area, and the other one is managed services, which we like to compare to H&R Block. The self-service, it's $250 per report per entity. That's where you end up doing it all yourself. You're putting in your planting data. You're cleaning it up because it's not always the cleanest. There's glitches and things that happen. And then you're submitting that yourself. With managed services, we take that data from them. We clean it up. We do everything for the producer, and then we submit it for them.
So, Amber, are there some deadlines coming up, not only for the farmers to get things reported, but how long does your internship go on through the summer?
Yes. So the reporting deadline will be July 15th, and it is not too late to get started with My Ag Data. But our internship does end the 30th, 31st, 30th of July. So,
Okay.
yeah.
So you're running out of time too. And
Uh-huh.
for farmers, if if they're thinking, well, maybe I have some interest in this, but I'm not really sure. And cripes, I'm barely done planting. Like I'm still putting some sunflowers or dried up beans in the ground. Is it too late for them to meet that July 15th reporting date by giving you a call, Amber?
It is not too late, Bridgette.
Okay, so by saying that, where can people go to find that? I think I heard Carson mention it, but I'd like you to reiterate that, how people find My Ag Data and more information.
Yeah, so we are all on all social media platforms, but if you simply just go to myagdata.com, it will give you all the resources you need to get started.
And again, this is a way to be more efficient in what you're doing as farmers in order to save you some steps of going to the FSA office. I mean, if you want to go, you certainly can, but accuracy counts. And in today's world, when we have such slim margins and we're trying to make sure that we are taking care of business when it comes to accurately paying for our crop insurance and making sure that things are correct from there on out with FSA, etc., this is the chance to do it. Oh, and big question. Amber, who owns that data by the time you guys are done helping the farmer?
The farmer owns the data. We do not own it. We do not sell it. It is yours.
You are just there to help them manage it. That's it.
Mhm.
Okay. To Carson and to Amber, thank you both for spending some time today to talk about my egg data. That reporting deadline is coming up again. I believe you said July 15th, and we've got a little bit of time. So check them out at My Egg Data. All right. Nobody run anywhere because you're going to want to be ready to use the JLA Insurance phone line very shortly. That number is 701 293 9000. I have a Wednesday weather trivia question coming up next for you. It is time for Wednesday weather trivia brought to us by Darter Plastics. They supply the Darter plastic bait ups, and they are a fabulous option for you as a fisherman. Or maybe you've got grandkids who fish. Perhaps you're looking for something fun to give for Father's Day this weekend. Well, here's your chance to win a Darter plastic bait up for Wednesday weather trivia, and you can call us on the JLA Insurance phone line of 701-293-9000. Addison, ready and willing to take those calls. And sometimes you call in, just ask Addison how he's doing. Okay, so this answer, we had to literally like sound it out. We're having a
It's a day of learning on
phonics
WAG.
hook, it's like a hooked on phonics day for you and I until we got this ready. And I am willing to say that if you can say it or spell it, we'll take the answer. So here's the question for Wednesday weather trivia. Sunbeams that shine down through the clouds have a name. It's something for rays. What could that something be? Again, sunbeams that shine down through the clouds. Now, besides just saying, oh, that's pretty, maybe you should look up what the rest of the actual name is, and we look forward to hearing from you. Again, Addison is kindly taking your calls at 701-293-9000. That is the JLA Insurance phone line, and we're happy to hear from you today. Now, as I said, this could probably fill in for your Father's Day gift if you haven't done your shopping yet, so hustle up, guys. Look this one up. All right. There is something out there called grain flow, and it's a big help for those who wind up having to sit in line with grain trucks during harvest. How often have I heard, well, the line at the elevator is only 4 hours long, and you're sitting there in the semi hoping you got a couple of movies to watch while you wait. Well, that's kind of the least productive time on the farm. So GrainFlow is a new Canadian software platform that was built to change all of that. And what happens is a farmer's owned co-op or their independent grain elevator brings GrainFlow into the mix. So there's no special app. Wow, an app. I don't even have to download it. In fact, whomever the elevator is shares a link, and farmers can check their phones and look at yard conditions before they even leave the field. On that page, you can see how many trucks are already in line, what the current average wait time looks like at each receiving lane. So you can decide if you're hauling now. Do you want to switch fields? Do you need to take another round with the combine? Are you filling 2 trucks to take them in? And instead of relying over rumors on the radio, calling in and asking the lady at the desk in the office 3 times a day, you can see what's happening in real time. GrainFlow replaces that mix of phone calls, sticky notes, and whiteboards, and can help with simple scheduling and also monitoring to help out the grain staff. And you, as the staff at the local elevator location, set the rules for the software. How many trucks per hour at each pit or scale you can handle for different commodities. And that helps the system understand the realistic capacity of every lane that's in there. So farmers and commercial haulers can actually book specific windows of delivery against the capacity. And that really helps level out some of those peaks that can happen, like the first sunny day after a rain shower. So in the yard, GrainFlow is going to go ahead and use cameras and computer vision to count the trucks and measure how long each one waits, gives you a live dashboard, and builds a detailed history of how the yard flows, the management of the trucks, and so forth over time. So for those of you who are listening, if you're on your local elevator board, if you're planning on hauling grain to town during harvest this year, and you are, maybe you want to make mention of this Canadian product called Grain Flow and see if that could be incorporated into the things that are going on at your local bin sites. Addison, we're waiting for a winner for Wednesday weather trivia, and he might be on the phone with our winner right now. We're waiting to hear. That question is, sunbeams that shine down through the clouds are called what? And we're waiting for those calls on the JLA Insurance phone line of 701-293-9000. I know that when he has a winner, he'll just pop in my headphones and let me know that who's up next, who managed to win. Meanwhile, American Farm Bureau has launched a photo contest. They want to celebrate America's 250th birthday, and they are doing this with the Farm 250 initiative. The winner of their photo contest gets a trip to the 2027 American Farm Bureau Convention, which will be in Charlotte, North Carolina. You also get a new iPhone 17. Well, they take pictures as well as any camera out there, so it's probably well worth it. So you can go to American Farm Bureau's website in order to find out more about their photography contest and how you can participate in celebrating America's 250th birthday for your farm or ranch. Well, now, it seems like we have a winner, and that winner is Kevin. He called in to get the answer to our Wednesday weather trivia. Again, that question was, sunbeams that shine down through the clouds are called, all right, Addison, I believe I can say this. You can correct me. Crepuscular rays.
I
It sounds terrible, but
Yeah,
they
that
look
sounds.
pretty.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever heard anyone ever pronounce it like that. What do you call them?
Uh,
What's your go-to? Because I always thought they were
sunbeams.
just called God rays.
Okay, God rays, sunbeams. I didn't know there was a scientific name of crepuscular, which sort of sounds like a disease in the 1800s if I lived in a sod house on the prairie.
It sounds like something
So
you'd
I,
get on like your foot.
oh, I wonder if you can fix that with like a athlete foot treatment of some
I
sort.
was gonna say if
Well,
it's an 1800s disease, probably a saw.
nothing like an amputation to change the way of your day. All right. Speaking of changing the way of your day, well, the next direction you head to will be Jay Thomas. He's coming up next.